Hey, I'm out of the kitchen, out of the house today. I'm on location here at Walmart and I'm showing you things I don't buy anymore. I also wanted to provide a disclaimer that this is not meant to food shame anyone. If you purchase these products and you love them, all the power to you. That is awesome. These are just small substitutions that I've made, some small changes over the years from products I used to buy and the products I do buy now. Of course, even I have exceptions. Sometimes I buy things that, for convenience sake or whatever, but these are just in general some small things that I no longer buy anymore. So let's get into it.
The first thing I don't buy anymore, and this one's specifically to Walmart, is packaged meat. The reason is because Walmart does not have a dedicated butcher in store, and so all of the meat comes from a processing plant directly to the store. Because of this, you don't know when the meat was packaged, and it doesn't say on any of the containers, on any of the packaging, and so it does have a best by or an expiration date, but you don't know exactly how fresh the meat is. In contrast, if you go to a local grocery store, you will see exactly when the meat was packaged. You can ask the butcher questions and you just get a little bit more knowledge about where your food came from, and I really value that. So I no longer buy meat from Walmart. Next, I don't buy canned fruit in syrup. Whenever possible, look for canned fruit that is packed in water or in juice. You can usually get canned fruit in heavy corn syrup or light corn syrup, but it's literally just canned in corn syrup, and I try and avoid corn syrup as much as I can whenever I can. You can see in the nutritional facts that the one in syrup has a lot more added sugar, carbs than the one that is packed in water. So whenever possible, try and stick with fruits packed in fruit juice. The next thing I don't buy anymore is boxed or canned chicken broth or any other broth. That's because these boxed broths are usually really expensive and you don't need to buy the boxed stuff. I always use organic Better Than Bouillon. I buy it at Costco for a really good price. The kind that I get is reduced sodium and organic, and it just has a much better flavor. Plus, it doesn't take up all that room in your fridge if you don't use it right away. So using the concentrated paste of the Better Than Bouillon in all the different flavors is just a lot more cost effective, and you can add your own water so you can vary the saltiness, you can vary the intensity or the concentration of the flavor. It's just a lot more convenient. Speaking of soup or broth, I don't buy cream of chicken or cream of mushroom soup anymore. These are convenience foods and they really are convenient for specific dishes like funeral potatoes, but it's actually really simple to make at home. All you have to do is combine some flour and some butter or fat, make a roux, and then you just add chicken broth. That's all cream of chicken soup is. You can also look for recipes online for cream of chicken, cream of mushroom, cream of anything soup, and then it's usually only a couple simple ingredients. The next thing I don't buy anymore are full sodium beans and vegetables. Canned beans are packed with usually just water and salt. The low sodium varieties usually have about half or less the amount of sodium as the original varieties. If I can easily avoid all of that sodium just really quickly by choosing the low sodium kind, I usually go for those. Next is sauces. I know there's a lot of sauces that you can't make from scratch, but for example, this Chick-fil-A sauce that I found at Walmart is packed with a lot of ingredients that you can actually make at home. Chick-fil-A sauce, if you make it at home, is basically just mayonnaise, mustard, a little bit of barbecue sauce, maybe a little bit of honey, and it's really simple to make at home and it tastes really good. Whenever possible, instead of going to buy the sauce, I usually just look up on the internet a recipe from a fellow food blogger and just try and find a homemade variety. It's usually really easy. Next up is ketchup with corn syrup. There are like a million different varieties of ketchup at the store, but I always try and find one that avoids corn syrup. If I can get ketchup that doesn't have sugar in it, I usually go for that as well, just to try and avoid as much corn syrup in my food as possible. The next thing I would never buy at the grocery store is pre-made or pre-packaged gravy. If you're eating something that requires gravy, it's probably a meat with a carb such as noodles, potatoes, rice, and if you're already cooking the meat, it is so simple to make gravy out of those pan juices and it's going to taste a million times better. Of course, for convenience sake, it's always nice to be able to have that option, but it's really simple to make gravy as well. All you have to do is take whatever meat you are using and then take the pan or the juices out of that that meat, and then combine that with a roux, which is just flour plus butter, or you can just thicken it up with some cornstarch. It's really easy. The next thing I used to buy, which I no longer buy, are seasoning packets, especially things like taco seasoning, burrito seasoning, enchilada seasoning, fajita seasoning. They're basically all the same thing. It's like chili powder, garlic powder, oregano, some cayenne. These are usually spices that most people have in their pantries at home, and you can just mix them all together. You don't have to have any of those fillers like dextrose or cornstarch. You don't have to have any of that included in your food, and it's way cheaper to just make your own anyway, especially if you have it. If you are going to buy taco seasoning, then I definitely recommend that you try and find something that only has spices in it and avoids any type of fillers. The next thing I definitely don't buy anymore is self-rising flour. One, you're probably not going to find very many recipes that require self-rising flour, and if you do, it's incredibly easy to make at home. If you look at the ingredient label on this bag of self-rising flour, you'll see that it's basically just flour with baking soda or baking powder, some kind of a leavening agent with salt. I just recommend that you look on the internet for a homemade recipe for self-rising flour. That's usually what I do. Speaking of flour, another thing I don't buy anymore is pancake mix. If you look on the ingredient label of pancake mix, it's usually just flour with some sugar and some leavening. Sometimes it will have some milk powder or some egg powder in it, but it also usually says on the bag that you have to add things like oil and eggs or milk to make them taste better. It's really convenient to have if you're going camping or something, but at the same time, it's so incredibly cheap and easy to make homemade pancakes with ingredients that you probably already have, and I promise they're gonna taste a million times better. The last thing I don't buy anymore is pancake syrup. Most pancake syrup that you find at the store is just straight corn syrup with a little bit of maple extract in it. Pancake syrup like this is literally just gloopy corn syrup, and so I definitely recommend that you try and find something else like pure maple syrup, which I know it's usually a little bit more expensive. However, it's actual real maple syrup and it tastes a million times better. My kids actually don't even like maple syrup anymore. We don't really use it for anything. What we like to do is make our special buttermilk syrup. It's just buttermilk, butter, and sugar and vanilla, well, and a little bit of baking soda to make it all bubbly. But we make that at least once a week and we always have it in the fridge. My kids are syrup snobs, but it's so easy. And I'll leave a link to our favorite pancake syrup recipe in the description below. Thanks again so much for watching. If you like this video, let me know and I will make some more, because obviously we only got through a couple aisles in the store. These are just small changes that I've made in my shopping and eating habits over the years, and I hope that it may have inspired something for you as well. All right, make sure that you're subscribed so that you can catch me next week, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.